Hi, this is Denise Mathew. Today I'm going to do a multi-gemstone necklace. If you notice, there's all different assortment of gemstones here. There's also a main focal bead, there's an extender, and you also have sort of some smaller beads that are here. There's two sets of chain here, so it's very, it's not actually complicated, but there are a lot of steps to it. So basically you just have to continue to do sort of the same techniques, and you could use crystals with this or the gemstone beads like I'm doing right here. I think it's a great project for the holidays or a gift or anything like that. So let's get started. So I've laid some of my beads out already. I find this is good because it gives me sort of a heads up on how everything's going to look. I have a lemon topaz, and that's going to be my main focal bead, and it's probably about a 20 by 15. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put, I'm working with a 26 gauge wire. I've got about 3/4 of a foot, but I'm going to need more than that. That's what I'm just working with just for this part of it. So just put your wire through like you would do a standard briolet wrap, although we're going to do a little bit different. And then we're going to just bring one side of the wire up on the side, and then just do a little bend in like that, and then go to the other side and bring it up, and you can cross it over for just 1 second and then just pull it back out. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing, just bend it in on the side. So you're going to have something like this. And then what you're going to do is take, and when you're picking the bead for doing this, for going over these two wires, you want to make sure that your bead, you check your bead against your wire, and that two wires can actually fit through it. So this is a 5mm garnet bead. But before I put the garnet bead on, I just have these little 4mm bali spacers. They're just like a little flower spacer. You're going to put one of those on. Put one of those on. And then you'll put your bead. Alright, so slide that right down, and if you notice they both go quite taut, you just want to make sure it's quite taut like that. And then put your next spacer on, and then you're going to attach it to some sort of a frame. It doesn't really matter, you could do a circle, or I have a teardrop here. I'm just going to do a 90-degree angle and then right around in a loop, and don't close the loop. So you're going to have that so far. Alright, and then just slide your loop on. Make your circle big enough so it'll go around the diameter of whatever you're using. And now that I have that, I'm just going to grab hold of that circle. I'm just going to wrap a few times just to close it. Alright, then trim it back. Make sure you tuck in any stray wires. And if it becomes a little bit crooked, you can just take your fingers and just straighten it up. So you would have that so far. Okay. So if you notice, I have on one side I have a ruby, and the other side I have the circle, and the circle attaches to all these gemstone beads, and then the ruby attaches to some chain. Okay, so that's how I'm going to attach it. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach the ruby side, and that will be the chain side as well. Alright, so just do just a loop, keep it open, just slide it on to your the loop of the oval or circle, whatever you want to use, and then just close it up. Okay, and then so you're going to have that so far. Now just string on your ruby bead. This is about a, I believe, a 6mm faceted rondelle. Okay, just string that on, and then you're going to do a 90-degree angle and a circle. But don't close the circle because you're going to put your chain on. Now I have 18 inches of chain here. Now the way the design is made, you would have like the one length of chain, and then you'd have sort of a 3/4 length of chain, but then you would have gemstones up here, if you can see that right there. So you have the chain, but you also have this, and that's how it is on that one side. Alright, so in order to do that, we want to grab the chain in a middle loop so that you have it not exactly equal. Okay, so then just take a middle loop of the chain and slide it right on. And you don't have to, you can measure this if you like, but you're just going to fill in that space with the gemstone beads or crystals, whatever you're using. So just slide that circle, that chain on, and then just close that up. Alright, couple wraps, trim it back, and then we're going to go to the other side and then add the circle. Alright, so now just take your wire, do another loop, and then just slide it back on, slide it on to the other side. Try not to get it in that loop that you've already made. Try not to put it in that because that's supposed to be separate. So just go to the other side. Alright, so you'd be like, it would be like this. Okay, and then just grab hold of that circle and close it up like you did just a regular wrap loop. Alright, and then just, you don't actually have to add spacer beads, but I like to have them because I think it just finishes it up a little bit more. So I have about a 5mm faceted, this is actually just a pyrite bead. And then I'm going to add my, this is a apatite faceted nugget. And again, I've already checked my wire against all my beads, so I know that they're all going to fit. So make sure that you do that. It is an extra step, and it does take some time, but it is worth it because then you have no issues with everything going on the wire. All right, do the other bead. Make a loop again, 90-degree angles, 90-degree angle loop, and then before you close the loop, you're going to take your circle and you're just going to slide that right on to that loop. Okay. And then just close it. Alright, just a couple wraps like you normally would do, and then trim it. Trim it and tuck everything away. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay. Now you can decide to work on whatever side you like. You can start working on this side, or you can start working up here. If you wanted to start working up here, you're going to start doing just some gemstone. It's pretty much the same technique either way. So I'm just going to start working on this side, and then I'll show you that whatever technique we're doing, it's just going to continue on, and you will eventually be able to finish the necklace. Alright, so the first bead that I'm going to use is a garnet bead, which I have already. And there's two ways to do this. One is to put the wire right through your bead, and this is a briolet, probably about a 6x6. So just put your briolet right on like that, okay, and then take your pliers and then just do a loop like that. Alright, like this. Okay, and then you can go on the other side and do the exact same thing. Now leave a tiny bit of space because you're going to do your wraps in that little space. So when I say leave a little tiny space there, okay, not too tight, not too close, because you just need a little space to do your wraps. And try and keep your loops about the same, and you can always adjust them accordingly. So this is what you would have. This is the first technique. Now again, I'll show you another one and you can decide which one you'd like to do. So this is what we have so far. Okay. Now, what you do is you're going to slide that on to your circle, that open loop. Once it's on there, just grab hold of your circle and then just take that little tail of wire and just wrap until it's gone. Alright, so now that that's wrapped, make sure everything's tucked in. Alright, so now it's attached. I'm just going to, if you notice when I was working on it, my other circle kind of got smaller. So just take your pliers, if that happens, and just kind of work it back out again. Make it a bit bigger. Okay, so it's right. Alright, and center your bead before you wrap. Like that. Okay. And then just grab hold of that circle and wrap again. I have a tutorial on that and I will put the link on. I'll give you more help if you want more help. Okay, so just do a couple wraps. Now, if they're not exactly straight, that's alright. You can just go in and start to straighten it. And you can also push it if your loops are too far, if your wraps are too far apart, you can always just take your pliers and push them in, but just be careful about your briolet or crystal, whatever you're working with, because that can get broken or cracked. So this is what you'd have so far. Alright. Now the other method to do would be, and I'm going to use a marquise cut, this is a labradorite. It's probably about a 10 by 15. So the other method is to just do a loop, just a regular loop like that, alright, and then just kind of put it on that other loop that you have right there. Alright, so then you would have it like this, and then just grab hold of that circle and then close it. Now you guys might find this easier. Both will work, but you might actually have a preference. I find that this is actually a nicer one for me, but I like to show both just in case. Alright, so now that that loop's on there, just slide your bead on. Alright. Okay, and that's what you have. And then just go to the other side and just do another loop, again leaving a little tiny bit of space. Alright. Alright, so you have that, and then grab hold of that loop and then just wrap a few times and trim. Okay, so you would have this. Now, if your loop is not straight, you can always just take your pliers and then just gently kind of move it in the place where you want it to be. Okay, if you wanted to put it up like on an angle instead of just having it straight like that. I'm just going to do one more briolet just to show you. This is a sapphire briolet. I think that's about a 10 by 5. So just again, I'm just going to do that same method that I showed you. Just making the wrap loop ahead of time, just slide it on the other one. Grab hold of the circle, close it up. Okay, and then just slide this is a fatter briolet, not flat, so just slide that on. Same thing. Now, the one thing you might notice is that when you're putting your briolets, some will fall this way and others will fall that way. You can really be specific about always keeping them the same way, or you can just let them fall as they will, and that is how I sort of do it, so that it's just kind of making its own pattern. But again, you can just position it the way you want it to be positioned. It sometimes will move anyhow, but just something to try out. And I'm just going to go to the other side, just do another wrap loop like I did before. Grab hold of the circle and then just kind of take that wire and wrap it around. Alright, and then trim it back. And then you would have more of the same. Okay? So I'm going to do some more and I will come back and show you how to add a few more components to it. So I've added more briolets and some marquise cut gemstones, and now I'm getting to the point where I just wanted to add a line of, these are just little rondelles and they're faceted, and I've done a few already, so I'm just going to do one or two just to show you how to do that. It's just basically a closed loop. I'll have a link if you need more help with that. Alright, so just a regular circle, open loop like normal, and since I've already done these, I'm just going to link it right on, so I'm linking them together, and then just grab hold of that circle, and you're usually always going to leave about sort of a quarter of an inch or a little bit more You might want to work with a little bit more. I work with less because I like to not really waste much wire. I just have these little faceted garnet beads. They're about 2 millimeters, and just gonna put one of those on, and then just 90-degree angle, and then close up that loop. Alright, trim it up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to check it against my other beads, what I've done so far. So you want it to be even, so just have it like that, and then you look like that and see if it's getting close. So we're almost there, but not exactly. So I'm just going to do another 1 or 2. Alright, so I have the length that I want now, and I just did a closed loop and then just put another bead on, and now I'm just going to do another open loop, and then just slide it on to that other circle that I've already done. Okay, and then just close it up. Alright, trim it. And now, when you get to the top, I'm just going to add another length of chain, about half of this, so just so that it's going to be equal. Okay, so if I'm looking here, so it's probably, and now you can measure that if you prefer, but I'm just going to eyeball it and then just do one more garnet and just slide it on. So I have my open loop. I'm just going to slide that chain right on. Close the loop. And then once that's done, I'm just going to check again my length to make sure everything's sort of close, and it is. So now on this side I want to connect those 2 chains, because what I've done already is I've added some more briolettes, I've added a rondelle as well, and now that they're sort of almost exactly the same, which they are, I want to connect them so that they're together, because I'm going to finish off the necklace now. So I'm just going to use just a spacer bead to close them, and I did an open loop and just sliding on that one and trying to make sure that they're side by side. You don't want them to be crossed, because that's the way it's going to stay. So just have them side by side, your chains, and then close your loop. Alright, slide on your spacer bead, and then you're going to slide on a circle. But before I close that, I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm just going to show you how to do a extender. Now you don't actually have to have an extender, but I just like the look of it, and it's a fine chain. There's 2 ways to do an extender. One is to use the fine chain, and then you can just add like a spring ring in the center, and then your clasp can hold on to it, or you could use a sort of a bigger chain like this, and then it can just go at any circle. So whatever you want to do, you can do. What I do is I like to put a briolette and just a rondelle on the end, and then of course that's going to hang down a person's back, so if they have an open dress or something like that, it will accent that. So I'm just going to add that extender on before, as well as my circle. I'm just going to add that extender as well as my circle, and then I'll close it up, and then I can finish the extender. Okay, and now that that's done, just close that loop. Alright, and then the other side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now I can use the exact same kind of bead if I want, or I could just use another gemstone bead. So I'm just going to close this other side. So I'm just putting a loop on there, same thing, close loop, and then just put a spacer bead. Alright, which I have here. And then, alright, I'm just going to do another loop there, and that's where I'm going to put my scroll, okay? Because I've already made a scroll. Now you can use a clasp if you prefer, but I like the look of the scroll. I think it just finishes it. I'm just going to open it up just on the end, and I'll have the link for that so you can, if you want to make your own scroll again. I'm just going to attach that scroll, close that up. So now that's there, and then I already have my circle so that it can easily go here. Now, I'm just going to finish off that the extender. So do a standard briolet wrap. I have a garnet bead here. Alright, so just put the wire through, one side up, other side up, and then just do a loop, and then just gonna wrap down and just wrap. You can use more or less wire, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to use what I have here. It's kind of messy. And then just push all the wires in. And then I'm just going to do another loop. I'm just going to attach that to this briolet. Now you could just attach the briolet right to the end of the chain and you will be done with it, but I just like it to add two. It's just to really make it more decorative. And so just standard loop, and then just maybe good size, and then just another open loop. I'm just going to go on the end of that chain. Alright, and then close it up. The last thing I want to do is just add that spring ring and just open it up. And again, you can make it longer and add more of these. I'm just going to add one just to show you, and just kind of put it anywhere you like, and just kind of get it on. If it's there, you can just attach it to your scroll if you want to extend it and have a shorter extender, or you could just leave it and just hang it here. But it's not very big, so it's not going to show up very much. So then that would be your completed necklace. So this concludes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.